This is the Evil Never Dies podcast with Brett and Carl. This podcast may contain adult themes, violence, and strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Evil Never Dies podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Evil Never Dies podcast. What's going on, Carl?
Well, it's been a bad afternoon, evening, because I couldn't get our Zoom, or my Zoom, not your Zoom, but my Zoom to work. And I did nothing to it whatsoever. It wouldn't take the camera. It wouldn't take the mic. I have no idea. I feel like I'm at work again dealing with bad software.
But
So there you go. We
we're up
finally
and
got it to
running
work
now.
on about the 50th attempt. And this is how we kick off our third season, with me having technical difficulties. Is that a bad omen or what? That's a bad omen, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Well, technically season 3 doesn't start till next week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the season 2 finale. So that's better.
We just decided we're just going to celebrate the whole month of July.
Yeah, but technically this is the end of season 2. So we had technical difficulties on my end. So apologize to everybody, even though you didn't see me for 40 minutes trying to get this thing to work.
It's all.
We have a new camera set up, so hopefully that's working.
We want to know what you think of this.
So I can't see myself at all anymore, so I don't know if you can even see me. I have no clue. Usually I can see myself, so I can't no more.
Yeah, we're doing the speaker thing. Whoever's speaking and comes up on the video. So,
Well, what happens when we talk over each other?
you still
Like
just hear the audio of the other person.
we will frequently speak over each other.
Probably, yes.
But this is the this has been 2 years we've been doing this damn thing now.
Yep, going into 3.
So yeah, we're gonna do a month-long little. I put a Facebook post up. I actually put it on my personal page. So the challenge is out there. You said 20 YouTubes, right?
We're going into this again.
We're going into this first because last time was last. 20 YouTube subscribers and you will cut your long hair off, right?
Yep, and the 20 people will be
No, not no email bullshit.
no,
That's not part of the deal.
No, they get thrown. Their names get thrown in the hat for a T-shirt.
Oh, I don't know about all that. That's not part of the deal that I knew of.
Well,
You're changing the deal.
I'm cutting my hair, so I'm making a new deal.
And you can change the deal. It's your hair, so it's your deal. So now you didn't tell me. You change things and don't tell me. So
I told you this yesterday. You don't remember.
I probably wasn't listening to you.
You probably weren't.
I probably wasn't.
You come back.
I heard you say
back
something
in the
about
haunt. You're in the back. You're in the haunt. What are you doing back here?
Well, you were supposed to come get a tomato, and I couldn't find you.
Yeah, that was a good tomato too. Shout out to your sister.
Sissy, yeah, Sissy's garden.
Yep. Can't wait for
The
them.
funny thing is, she doesn't even eat tomatoes. So,
well, she can give them all to me, man. I'll eat the shit out of them.
well, you call them some weird name.
Maters.
Why is it I never knew in my life that there were hillbillies in Illinois until I encountered you? You know, I'm from the urban city of Fort Worth, so I'm the farthest thing from a redneck you're going to find, even if I do have a slight Texas accent. Yeah, so I never knew it, Brett. I never knew it.
Never knew it.
I do now.
I'm a redneck from way back, brother.
I am the closest thing not being a redneck, so there you go.
Yeah.
I'm a urban
cowboy.
I'm an urban city dweller from the hood. Even though when I grew up in Riverside, it was a bunch of old people.
Yeah, speaking of the hood, it's
4th of July weekend. They're going to fire
And
guns. They're going to shoot off
for the
firecrackers.
next 2 weeks.
They're going to let the chihuahuas loose.
For the
And
next
I'm
2
going to
weeks.
let the tailless cat out.
Oh,
Bunny Rabbit's going to run the streets of Riverside.
It'll be
and he's going to cause
disturbed.
chaos and madness. I don't think nothing would disturb that cat, on it, all jokes aside. He's real chill. It's his Halloween that gets all upset about stuff. So anyway, it is this is next week officially will be season 3.
Yeah.
This week is where we have not done as many classic movies in the last 2 years as I had sort of promised. I think we've done maybe 2 or 3 Universal classics, and we've done about 2 or 3 Hammer classics. We haven't done anything else from like 1960 back. Very rare that we do. So I'm hoping in year 3, we will get more into some of the more classic and neoclassic. I don't know where you would rate these things. I mean, these movies go back to the 30s. Tonight it is going to be Bride of Frankenstein, the 1930s.
What? I thought we were doing Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. That's the notes I got pulled up. Oh, I'm just fucking with you, man. He's left us. He's left the building. Where'd you go, Carl?
I walked off the set. That's what I did. Actually, that's a good thing. I think the week we go to the haunt convention, I don't know what we're going to be putting out. We may be putting a lot of stuff out, but Sunday night, we're going to actually do a classic episode that never appeared on YouTube. And it is going to be the Andy Warhol Dracula episode.
And Death Angel.
Which became And Death Angel because I told Brett in the beginning, I'm like, dude, you're going to have a second topic. And you were like, why? I said, you'll find out. So look forward to that the week of our Haunt Con. But yeah, all playing around. We are going to do Bride of Frankenstein tonight. 1935 Universal sequel to the 1931 Frankenstein. James Whale was director, and it starred Boris Karloff, or Karloff as they call him in the beginning of this one.
He was just labeled as Karloff.
And he was in several movies from this point on. I don't know why. I guess kind of like Bill Goldberg became Goldberg, or Dave Bautista became Batista. Karloff was just Karloff.
Madonna became Madonna.
Madonna became Madonna, and The Rock is The Rock.
Oh, shit.
So go ahead and hit it for Bride of Frankenstein.
All
I'm going to
right.
I think we're probably going to have a few spoilers in this one because this is another one of those movies that, well, it's only an hour and 15 minutes long. It's going to be hard not to spoil. So for God's sakes, if you haven't watched Bride of Frankenstein, then sorry.
We've had since 1935.
We've had since 1935 to watch it. So there will be spoilers. That's my warning. I do like to kind of throw that out there. On the older movies, I don't mind spoiling as much as the newer movies. So that's my whatever, Madingler. Now, how's that for a word?
Madingler? What the fuck's a
Madingler? So go ahead, Brett, and hit it.
All right, like you said, it was directed by James Whale, who also produced the original 1931 Frankenstein.
And The Invisible Man.
And The Invisible Man. Screenplay by William Hurlbut.
Goldberg?
Story by William Hurlbut and John Balderston. Based on the 1918 novel Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
And honestly, as much as honestly, this drew more from the novel than the original movie did. I kind of hate to say that, but it did.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Produced by Carl Lamy Jr.
Lamy.
Cinematography by John J. Mescal. Edited by Ted J. Kent. Music by Franz Waxman. And your typical 1930s horror movie score.
Yes, it is.
Production company Universal Pictures, distributed by Universal Pictures. It was released April 19th, 1935 in San Francisco and Seattle. And then the rest of the United States on April 20th, 1935. Running time of 75 minutes. Country of origin, United States. English language. I've heard different amounts on the budget. I've heard anywhere from 300,000 to 400,000.
I guess it'd be irrelevant at this point anyway, because of the way money's inflated. So who knows what the budget would have really been.
And it made $2 million at the box office because it was so anticipated.
It definitely made a lot of money. We know that
because they started what do you call them, showing this off in 1932. Like they were gonna make, like it was coming. And
well, the issue was James Whale did not want to make a sequel originally. He did not want to direct it, and he had issues. And he kind of told Universal, "You're going to have to go along with my path, or I won't do it." Now, I don't know why they couldn't have just brought in another director. I mean, 1935. I don't know the politics of that era, but they wanted James Whale back, so he got pretty much creative control over this, even though he didn't write the screenplay.
Yeah,
so
and he made way more money than any other director of that time too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And same with Boris Karloff.
You mean Karloff?
Yeah, Karloff.
So where you want to do the?
I'm gonna do some awards here.
We're gonna do awards before anything.
You want to do the plot? Go ahead and do the plot, Carl.
Well, the movie starts off with actually Mary Shelley, who wrote the original Frankenstein movie, in the movie. And there's these two characters. I don't know who the hell they are.
We'll get to that in a little
talking
bit.
About, oh, well, someone like you wrote about a Frankenstein and blah, 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 blah. And how the consequences of mortal man to play God. And Mary says, there's more to the story to tell. And we shift to the end of the first Frankenstein and beginning of Bride of Frankenstein. So it appeared like in the last movie that everybody was dead, or at least burned to death. Well, we find out that, yeah, that didn't happen.
Nope.
This would be was this the first sequel to a horror movie?
I don't know.
I don't know either, because Dracula didn't really have a sequel, honestly. There was a second Dracula movie, but it wasn't a sequel. This actually takes place literally seconds after the last movie ended, much like Halloween,
exactly.
The first two Halloween movies. So
exactly.
But it's pretty clear from the beginning that this movie is going to take a different shape than the original. And it starts with this damn housekeeper, I guess, of Dr. Frankenstein, Baron, who is very loud and obnoxious, is the way I would call it. I'm like, okay, this is now I'm gonna, before we go any further, I got to give some warnings here. I have not watched this movie in probably 30 years, maybe longer than that. I remembered that I wasn't a big fan of Bride of Frankenstein, and I never really watched it. I like to watch the first one, and I like some of the sequels, but I always kind of moved over Bride of Frankenstein until last night. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, that it's been many years since I saw this movie. So I'm looking at it from an old person's eyes compared to a kid's eyes.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the plot. We got the Frankenstein monster running around. He's not dead. They find Henry Frankenstein and cart him back to his castle, and he wakes up. Nobody's dead except for the hunchback, I guess, died. And Frankenstein goes on a rampage.
Yeah.
And starts killing people himself, except for that damn annoying housekeeper. And that's a general plot of the beginning of the movie. So,
oh, that's funny.
That's my plot from my eyes.
All right. Guess we'll move on to awards here.
You don't want to do the cast first?
Yeah, I guess we could do the cast.
I think we need to do the cast before awards.
Yeah, that's probably good. All right, cast. We got Boris Karloff, or as Carl said, Karloff.
Or as Bela Lugosi said, KARLOFF.
He plays the monster,
aka Frankenstein.
Colin Clive as Henry Frankenstein, Valerie Hobson as Elizabeth Frankenstein.
And that was an actress change from the original movie.
Yep.
And she was only 17 years old when she filmed this. So
Yes, she was. Ernest Thesiger as Dr. Pretorius.
he was Pretorius, all right.
Elsa Lanchester as Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley and the Monster Bride, credited as a question mark.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought that was a cool twist that Mary Shelley actually played the bride. I thought that was I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he didn't write the actual screenplay, but I'm giving James Well credit for most of this stuff. And that was a cool twist of fate. Onward to this cast you go. You're going to see how much we talk over each other with this new camera setup.
Next, we got Gavin Gordon as Lord Byron, Douglas Walton as Percy Bysshe Shelley.
That's one of them dudes that was in the castle with Mary Shelley.
Una O'Connor as Minnie.
I think that's that annoying lady I don't like.
I think so. The maid or whatever she was.
Maid, the housekeeper.
Next, we got E. Clive as the Burgomaster.
You always have to.
Always got a Burgomaster.
Yeah, always.
Next, we got Lucian Prival as Frankenstein's butler. Not the monster.
Exactly.
O.P. Hedgie as the blind hermit. And he did a really good.
That did a very good job.
I got some trivia about that.
That he might have been my favorite part of the movie, honestly.
Dwight Fry as Carl Pretorius Henchman.
Number one.
Ted Billings as Ludwig or Ludwig. As Pretoria's second henchman. Reginald Barlow as Hans, father of the killed girl Maria from the first film.
Well, he doesn't have a good fate in this movie.
No. Mary Gordon as Hans's wife.
Nor did she.
Ann Darling as the shepherdess. J. Gunnis Davis as Uncle Glutz.
I don't even remember him being in the movie.
Walter Brennan as peasant, unaccredited, but with dialogue.
Walter Brennan was in this movie?
Yes, and guess who else?
I did not know that ever.
Last but not least, guess who else was in this movie?
I don't know.
John Carradine as one of the hunters.
Holy crap. One of the Draculas himself in the person.
Unaccredited, but with dialogue. They're the ones that burst into the cabin with the blind hermit.
That was John. Oh my God. I'm going to have to go rewatch it just to see those two.
Yeah, I know. I
totally didn't pay attention to that.
Just realized that's both of them, Walter Brennan and John Carradine.
I never knew Walter Brennan was in Bride of Frankenstein. I've learned something new from our own show.
That's crazy, ain't it?
John Carradine's not a surprise because he was, in lots of. Okay, that's cool to know.
But that was early for him, though. So
it was early. It was very early.
Very young.
Yeah.
So, all right. You got anything else you want to add?
You want to do your awards now?
Did I do the awards yet?
No, I cut your awards off.
Cut them off, huh?
So you can do your awards if you must.
All right. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Sound Recording for Gilbert Kurland, the sound director. and it didn't say who it got beat out to. So,
Well, I know it won one Academy Award for sound. I thought
and it was nominated.
I was just nominated. I thought it actually won. Whoops! Now we're playing Star Trek music. Sorry.
2021 winner of the OFTA Film Hall of Fame Motion Picture.
It won an award in 2020.
2021 online Film and Television Association.
Well, then we're doing the Evil Never Dies awards, remember? So start on that.
Dude, I got enough on my plate.
I think I'm gonna. Bride of Frankenstein is up for Best Picture of the Year in 2023 now. Up with about 10 other movies, including Cocaine Bear.
It was nominated in 2020 for the IFMCA, which is the International Film Music Critics Award.
Why are they nominating this movie like 100 years later? I don't get this.
For a re-release or re-recording of the score.
That's just goofy.
So they must have made it sound better than the crackle.
I gotta move around. My back is hurting back here tonight. I think
2017 winner Saturn Award for Best DVD Blu-ray Collection.
Which one has been released 50 times?
The Frankenstein Complete Legacy Collection.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah, that one.
Well, I'll let you know. It is a good DVD. It's a it's a Blu-ray. It's not a DVD.
It has Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, and Bride of Frankenstein.
And House of Dracula.
And House of Dracula?
Yep. All 8 films from the original Frankenstein collection in HD. Plus, it's got some good documentaries. And it did throw Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein in there. Every one of these they released, they like duplicated movies too. So I think House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula is on almost all of them, since everybody's in those too.
Well, in 2013, it won the Saturn Award for Best DVD Blu-ray Collection as a part of the Universal Classic Monsters, the Essential Collection.
That was not a good release, so it shouldn't have won.
It had all the originals on it.
It did, but it was not a good release as far as the packaging and in general. This is a much better. If you're going to buy these things, get this one. I mean, I don't think these are out on 4K completely. I know Frankenstein, the original is. I'm sure they're all coming. This is a damn good Blu-ray. I don't know about all the. I'm giving this the award winner right here. This is the Frankenstein Complete Legacy Collection. That's the Count Karabi Award goes to this for 2023.
All right. In 2005, it was nominated for the Saturn Award for the Best DVD Collection as part of the Monster Legacy Collection, which was basically the same thing they re-released in 2013.
Okay.
And in 1998, it was entered in the National Film Preservation Board.
Yes. Now that's some good information there. That's important stuff. I like that.
So it's locked away inside the mountain, the original shit for
along with the original movie. They're both locked up there together.
All right. Do you got anything else you want to add before
Is that all your awards that came out and it never won any awards? Apparently in 1930 is what we're saying, huh?
It was nominated though for best sound.
But you know, Bela Lugosi and Claude Rains were considered for the Pistorius character.
Yeah, I think I got that in my trivia here.
I think that would have been interesting if Bela had have played that role. I think he might have done a better job. But what I heard was that the one dude was buddies with James Whale is why he got the role. So I don't think Bela was actually in consideration.
He's a creepy looking fucker though.
He was creepy looking.
Way creepier looking than Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, but Bela's a better actor.
All right, let's get into some trivia, I guess.
I guess.
You guess.
I guess.
Not long before filming, Colin Clive broke his leg in a horse riding accident. But most of his scenes, he was sitting down anyway, so, or laying in a bed.
He was in bed for a lot of it, yes.
Elsa Lanchester said that her spitting, hissing performance was inspired by the swans in London's Regent Park. They're really very nasty creatures, she said. Marilyn Harris, who played Maria, the girl the monster accidentally kills in the original Frankenstein, appears unaccredited as another young girl. She is the leader of the group of young schoolgirls who encounter the monster as he runs away from the blind man's burning house. He deliberately gave, director James Whale deliberately gave her a one-word line, "Look."
That's kind of cool to know.
So she would be paid more by the studio as an actor with a speaking role instead of as an extra. Well, that was nice.
James Whale was a good dude. I think he really was, and we'll get into him a little bit more later too.
Colin Clive's alcoholism had worsened since the first film, but James Whale did not recast the role because of his hysterical quality was necessary for the film. So he was basically drunk the whole time.
I don't think he really was very good in this movie compared to the first one.
He didn't
It was
have
sort
as
of
many
a throwaway.
He just sat there.
Yeah, it was sort of a throwaway. It just maybe it's because he was damn drunk. I don't know. That Dr. Pistorius sort of stole the thunder. Because tell me if I'm not wrong, but wasn't Frankenstein sort of crazy in the first movie, The Doctor? And in this one, he's all like serious and shit.
Yeah. He wasn't going to do stuff with the Pretorius and all that. I refuse to.
I don't know.
All right. Boris Karloff protested against the decision to make the monster speak.
Boris Karloff is fucking right.
Yep.
Now let's stop. I don't know what trivia you got, but it's time to stop for a minute.
You want me to finish the trivia before
we stop? No. I got to get this out while it's on my brain. So if you've ever read the Frankenstein novel, you will know that the monster becomes pretty much an intellectual and he speaks several different languages. And that was cool. But this is a sequel to the first movie. And not only, I just thought it was totally out of character for the monster to start talking to the ability that he does. Basically the next day, I mean, maybe the next few days.
After he's burnt up in a fire.
He's almost burnt to death, and he walks in and is like, I thought that was absolutely not in good taste of a sequel to the original Frankenstein movie. So me and Boris Karloff agree 100%. The monster should have not spoken this thing, and if he did, it should have just been very mumbled and very not really understandable, just kind of muted, like a it ruined the movie for me. And again, I understand the novel, The Monster Spoke, and I think I said earlier, this is actually more of a sequel to the novel than the original movie, but the problem is this is supposed to be a sequel to the movie, it didn't work for me. And I think that's why when I was a kid, I was like, oh, why is Frankenstein talking? And to this day, 30 years later, I have major issues with that. And I'm sure I'm going to piss a lot of people off because this movie is like one of the most treasured movies by film critics. They call it the greatest sequel ever made. I disagree with that. The best sequel ever made was Empire Strikes Back, probably. But that's for other discussions at a later date. So back to your trivia. I had to get that out because this has been bugging the shit out of me since I watched it last night again.
All right. Since Karloff was required to speak in the film, he was not able to remove his partial bridge work as he had done to help give the monster his sunken cheek look.
That is noticeable.
Yes, it is. His face looks totally different. He looks more fuller. Of course,
he was supposed to look different because of the burning, but Yeah,
they took
but
off some of his hair and stuff. He
yeah,
didn't hardly have any hair
no.
in this one. And I guess I
Well, if you'll notice in the movie, he starts to kind of regenerate as it gets further in the movie. So, but yeah, I did notice the sunken look was not there, and it was very noticeable.
and the
Actually,
water that he was in didn't do justice for the makeup either.
no,
It looked really bad.
the makeup does not look good. No, and again, it's supposed to be a burn victim, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. God, people are going to hate us for this. I'm just telling the truth.
I'm
I'm
just
not going to
telling
get
it
up
how
here.
it is, man.
Yeah, the makeup was not up to the original movie. And again, I understand that they wanted to change the makeup to account for him being burned, but you're right. It didn't do justice.
All right. Well, it seems like half the people in this movie were drunks.
Well, freak.
Cinematographer John Mescal presented a problem with his drinking so serious that the studio had to provide a car to get him safely to and from the set.
Well, hell,
Nevertheless, he was very good at his job, even when drunk. And James Whale liked that he worked fast and really wasted time fussing with incidental camera and lighting hardware.
that's funny.
So,
Get the drunk because he moves quick and gets things done. I could see that. That's sort of why I used to hire Patrick. The drunker you got him, the more work he did. It's true.
yep. They also had a different makeup artist on this movie too. That's probably a little bit why the makeup looked a little different.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jack P. Pierce
He
is
he did the original movie.
Did he do the original one
Yeah.
too?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the famous Universal makeup creator.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, James Pierce he's the one who created the Frankenstein. So yeah, I thought he did both movies.
Okay. All right.
I think your trivia is wrong.
Maybe I read it fucking wrong. Who knows? But
I don't know.
anyway, he had to add some flesh burns and singed off hair. That's why he looked so fucked up, I guess.
I guess. I mean, you got to
When-
give this thing credit. It was a 1930 movie. I mean, everything in it is fucking genius. I mean, absolute genius. The makeup, the sets. So I mean, even if the makeup does look different, it's all fucking genius. It's absolutely incredible that this was created in the 1930s.
Yep.
That's just the truth. But
And
yeah, Jack Pierce, he did he's the Universal makeup artist. So I don't know why you thought he was new.
but anyway,
Maybe Brett's drunk. You're talking about alcoholics on the set. We got one here
I
on the
love
Evil
that
Never
lemon.
Dies.
I love that absolute line with that lemonade,
Jimbo,
man.
you're hearing this? He didn't know that Jack Pierce did the original Frankenstein.
Oh, shut up, Jimbo. Love you, brother.
Now, I know he did help co-create the bride's makeup, but James Whale had a lot of input as well, especially on the hair.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that about the bride here in a bit when I get to it. When filming the scene where the monster emerges from the burnt windmill, Boris Karloff slipped and fell into the water-filled well. Upon being helped out, it was discovered that he had a dislocated hip.
Boy, he just has hell in these Frankenstein movies.
The hip was strapped into place and Karloff soldiered on. And they just kept massaging him and giving him heat pads throughout the shooting of the film.
Poor dude, he just had all
He's
kinds
going
of
around.
hell.
I guess that's probably sort of helped with his walk, I guess.
I guess so.
You know, that Frankenstein swagger, you know. And he sweated off 20 pounds laboring in the hot costume and makeup because this was all done on a sound stage. It was all done inside. There was
Yes.
no outside scenes.
That's
All
a
done
true story. Everything was done soundstage at Universal.
Yep. Several scenes were cut after censors' objections. References to the scandalous sexual arrangements of the historical Mary Shelley, Percy Shelley, and Lord Byron were eliminated, particularly the line of dialogue, "We are all three infidels." That was bad back in the day to say that.
Oh, of course, it's 1930.
And then
What about the Christian stuff?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Christian imagery that's in the film.
Yeah.
And that sort of got him in some trouble too. There's like originally there was like a crucified Jesus figure in the graveyard, and the monster was going to go like try to grab it, thinking they were punishing this man or whatever. And that got kicked out of the movie completely.
And so did a bunch of scenes of Elsa Lanchester's cleavage.
Yes, that was another problem. They did not like that.
There was 10 or 12 shots of that, I guess, that they took out because originally this movie was almost an hour and a half long.
Well, it's only an hour and 15 minutes. So they did cut a bunch out, and I guess in these days there weren't director's editions, so they were lost.
Who knows? Wouldn't that be fun to come across that footage of all that?
Well, there was a lot of comparisons of Frankenstein to Christ. People were trying to say that he was a Christ figure, and was not a religious man and lacked religious, so that wasn't intentional. So I think the people just sort of I think he pushed the buttons by throwing the Christian stuff in there just to kind of piss people off, maybe.
He was
I don't
like
know.
a rebel back in the day.
James Whale was a rebel. He was a huge rebel. And he was an ass-kicking motherfucker. The dude was badass.
All right, here we go. Elsa Lanchester was only 5'4", but the whole role was placed. But for the role, she was placed on 7 stilts to make her 7 foot tall. She didn't really. I don't think she looked 7 foot tall in the movie. Did you?
Like 7 foot tall, no.
And the bandages that she wore were placed so tightly that she was unable to move and had to be carried about the studio and fed through a straw.
Okay.
That's crazy. And she was paid $1,000 for her role.
Well, I guess in 1930s, that was okay money. I don't know.
Guess how much Boris Karloff got?
More than that.
$2,500.
Okay.
Same as the director. He got this, and that was unheard of back in that day.
Of course it was. Yeah, Karloff was like the first real huge, like action star, I guess, of that era. Maybe Errol Flynn or somebody, but if he was, I don't know when he started. I am not, when it comes to the 1930s, I am not an expert on movies, so I don't want anybody to think that I am.
He wasn't paid $2,500 for the whole movie. It was $2,500 a week.
Brett, you're messing up things.
Total of $12,500.
Brett, are you?
Sorry.
Damn, dude, you keep fucking up tonight. You don't even know who the makeup artist is in the first Frankenstein movie when that's the most iconic makeup ever put in a movie.
Are you firing me?
I walked off the set already. I may leave again. I'm glad this is the end of season 2 episode and not the beginning of season 3, because, yeah. Quit sipping on that drink.
No, it's good.
Yes.
I can't even taste the vodka in it.
Oh my gosh. Somebody help me. Somebody please help me. Now what?
Like we said, Elsa Lanchester never received screen credit as the bride. She was just a question mark.
She also hated the makeup completely.
Yeah, it took 3 hours to do hers and 5 to do Frankenstein monster.
Well, apparently she had issues with the makeup artist who's I can't even think of. You got me screwed up tonight. I can't even think now.
What?
Let's just do this whole show over again from
Don't
the
blame.
start. Let's just do the show over from the start at this stage. This is like episode
Not
2 again.
episode
I
2.
thought we were supposed to be good at this by now.
Oh shit. James Whale.
Face plant.
James Whale was so set on having O.P. Heggie play the blind hermit that he shut down production from February 19th, 1934 to March 2nd, 1934, while waiting for Heggie to finish production at RKO. He was signed with them, so.
Well, James Whale had some power at this point.
Yeah, he did. The musical soundtrack for this film was so popular that it was used again in the Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers serials starring Buster Crabbe.
Well, hell.
You ever watch them?
No.
The old Flash Gordon?
No. I did not.
Bob
Now
was.
what? Dude. Seriously.
Elsa Lanchester's shock hairdo was held in place by a wired horsehair cage. That's how they so big, so they had to construct it out of horsehair.
What was her real hair? I was told.
Well, just to hold her hair in place over it.
Over the wig?
The big, tall thing.
Okay.
They constructed a cage out of horsehair and set it on top of her head and then like weaved her hair in it. Like you said, James Whale did not want a sequel to Frankenstein. And they considered producing the sequel without him.
Yeah, why did they not?
One possible story included an educated monster continuing Henry's research, while another chronicled Henry's creation of a death ray on the eve of a world war. A death ray?
Well, death rays were big in the 1930s. Like you said, Flash Gordon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a movie called The Invisible Ray with Karloff and Lugosi. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this early period of movies, horror movies especially. Honestly, it's around the Wolfman when I started getting excited about the Universal films. I've said that before, though. So
the 40s then.
The 40s for me. What else?
All right.
You got?
They badgered him for 4 years and finally decided to do it after he got enough money. So it all came down to the money. Oh, let's see. Dr. Pretorius's full name is Septimus Pretorius.
What a stupid name.
Latin meaning Royal Seven.
Sounds like something from Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers.
Reference to the 7 deadly sins.
I'm not impressed.
Shot in 46 days for a cost of approximately $400,000. Some people say 3, some people say 4.
It was 1930. Who the fuck knows in 2023?
I don't know. $100,000 was a lot back then, though. It was probably like a couple of million, you know. Today's money. Special effects experts John P. Fulton and David S. Horsley spent 2 days shooting Dr. Pretorius's miniature beings. That whole scene. What did it have to do with anything?
Okay. That was one of the dumbest motherfucking things I've ever seen in a movie. It had nothing to do with Frankenstein.
No, it didn't. That's why
They were like little bitty. At this point of the movie, it basically becomes like Army of Darkness. I know we can't compare a modern movie to a classic movie, but honestly, this movie is campy as fuck and almost a comedy in many ways.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's I don't know what the fuck that was all about, but
I don't
I'm just
either.
like, what is this and why is it in this movie and what does it got to do with anything?
And it was so meticulous to shoot that back then too.
But it's
You
like
know?
I've made my own creations. Well, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get this movie in general. So people can give me comments as to what I'm missing. Because I know probably people are going to be mad that I'm shitting on Bride of Frankenstein since it's
totally
supposed to be the classic horror movie of all time and the greatest sequel of all time. But what the fuck is with those little bitty people? And then the king breaking loose and they're picking him up with tweezers. That's so damn stupid. That's Army of Darkness camp shit. That must be where fucking Sam Raimi got this shit from, is watching Bride of Frankenstein.
Maybe. Yeah,
I always thought they got it from the Three Stooges, but
and it's like they threw that in the middle of the movie too. It's like, what did that really have to do with anything?
I have no idea. But it was annoying as fuck to me.
Why would you create little bitty miniature people?
And where did they go?
Yeah,
what happened to them?
One was a mermaid.
I know. Didn't it?
And there was a baby that was actually played by Billy Barty.
I just don't understand what that had to do with the Frankenstein story.
I don't either. I guess because he was showing Frankenstein what he had made, because he was going on and on about not wanting to have anything to do with it. He's like, let me show you what I've made.
I don't know. I don't get it at all.
But I didn't understand it either, really. That's the only thing I can conclude is.
Yeah. As far as a sequel to the original Frankenstein, that absolutely had nothing to do with the original Frankenstein movie. And again, this is a sequel. It is not a adaptation.
Well, that part wasn't in the book, was it?
I don't even remember at this stage. But the problem is they almost should have just like had this as a remake instead of a sequel the way it was going. I don't know. What else you got?
The original trailer promises a lifetime of entertainment in 2 hours.
Well, that was a lie. It was only an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's what depends on how many trailers are showing.
I don't know.
Let's see here.
Do you have anything else?
In the scene near the beginning of the film where Dr. Frankenstein, well, he actually wasn't a doctor in this movie.
No, this isn't even a doctor. He's just Frankenstein.
He's just Henry Frankenstein. He might have been a baron, I guess.
No,
maybe.
I think his daddy was the baron in the original movie.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened to that. I think the daddy passed away. I don't fucking remember. I'm just ready for this to be over with.
But if you look really close when he's being carried into the castle after they dig him out of the burning windmill, you can see a shadow shaped like the Frankenstein monsters looming over him on the back wall. Boo.
Wonderful.
Spoopy.
Wonderful.
Like you said, Bela Lugosi was considered for the role of Dr. Pretorius.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, that's about all I got for trivia.
Good.
There's a bunch of stuff we've already talked about. So, what do you else you got to say about this? You're holding your head.
I guess I'm not a film critic, or I'm just stupid. I don't know, but I don't find anything that alluring about this movie other than the set, the special effects, the makeup, and the acting. The story is abysmal to me. I'm sorry, but it is. The bride's only in this thing for what, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
And all she does is scream.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes of the
movie.
And
here comes damn Frankenstein monster. Oh, she doesn't like me. She hates me. I like death. I wish for death. I don't like life. I'm like, motherfucking Karloff, shut the fuck up. And now I know that Karloff didn't even want to be doing these lines, and I
Yep.
don't blame him. That's kind of like the Christopher Lee Dracula movie where Christopher Lee refused to do the lines and he was mute throughout the movie. I just can't, I just don't know what I'm missing about this movie that it's supposed to be such a great follow-up classic to the original Frankenstein. It is not, in my opinion. But again, I'm the Frankenstein movies, I prefer the Hammer films by a million. Now, the first Frankenstein movie is a classic. It is to be commended. Karloff was the greatest thing ever. But this movie, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like I said, I can't knock it because of it was made in 1930, whatever, and it was genius. There is no doubt in my mind that James Whale was a genius. And he was also a genius. I'm going to take his side of this because he made this movie what the hell he wanted it to be. And it was like, fuck you if you don't like it. So he was a rebel and he was a genius. And I really have a lot of respect for the man because a lot of people might not know, but James Whale was openly gay. And this is the 1930s in Hollywood. And he didn't give a shit. And I'm like, you know what? James Whale, I give you 2 thumbs up. And you should get all the credit in the world for putting your vision to this movie and holding out until you got what you wanted. And you have an idiot like me complain about it in 2023. So that is my take on it. I think James Whale was a fucking genius. That is my whole take on it. And there's a movie called Gods and Monsters. I don't know if you've ever seen it. That came out in the 90s, I think, which was about an elderly James Whale. And it's got Brendan Fraser in it. And a lot of people might not like the movie because of its content, but that movie is really good. And it's
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
yes, it's a good movie. And again, James Whale would eventually sort of get blackballed out of Hollywood because of his lifestyle, which is a shame. But oh my God, it was 1930. I'm surprised that, you know, he had the success he did. And it's, you know, we've come a long way in all these years, but that is a good movie. And it's one I would recommend if you're interested in knowing more about it. It is fictional. It's not a true story, but it does give a little bit more into the mind of James Whale. So that's my take on that. I mean, Karloff did the best he could with what he had. So I am split on this. I like the fact that a director was able to give his vision of a movie and did not sell out the Universal. I don't necessarily agree with that vision as a sequel to the original classic Frankenstein movie. Was it better than Son of Frankenstein? I don't know. That would have been the last time Karloff would appear in the makeup until the damn Abbott and Costello movies. So yeah, this is kind of painful for me. I see both sides. I see both sides and I see them well.
All right.
So what is your take on this? Because I know we look at things differently sometimes. I'm going to know what you say.
Well, first of all, what do you rate the movie?
The look of the movie, the special effects, the soundtrack, Karloff just in general, I would have to say probably I'll give it a 3. The storyline is weak. I don't even know how I would rate that storyline, again, as a fucking sequel to the original movie. It almost reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 compared to the original Nightmare on Elm Street, except this movie, the critics say, is the #1 sequel of all time and one of the top 100 movies of all time. So I don't know how I would call it. I don't know. I really can't rate it, honestly. I don't want to trash on this movie, but I don't like this movie as personally, but I respect the fuck out of this movie and what the director did. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
That's my opinion. And I'm very opinionated, as y'all know, after 2 years of this. So I would not give this a 98% critical review or a 9 of 10. I can't do it.
Okay.
It has aged well as far as the look of it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm very impressed about this movie is the cinematography.
Is fucking genius.
Even though the guy was drunk the whole time, I got to give
Well,
him
you're
kudos
drunk
for
tonight
that.
and you fucked up the podcast, and I'm
Yeah.
still here. I done walked off the set. I officially walked off tonight.
Wasn't a big fan of the makeup on the monster.
Yeah, I kind of put that down as it was the burn, but now the more you talk about it, I see your side on that.
You
I
know,
see it.
because he couldn't have his deal in his mouth. Because the original he had that sunken
Mhm.
face. You know.
Well, you've got that picture right there on the wall.
Yep.
You can point it out. If you don't watch on YouTube, you're missing out. So subscribe
Right
to
there.
YouTube, and we need 20 subscriptions, and Brett's going to cut his hair off. So if you're a podcast listener, go on YouTube and subscribe, and then just don't go back if you don't like YouTube. And you might win a T-shirt, according to Bubba.
Yep. Yep.
I didn't know this. He changed the contest on me.
Anyway,
Yeah, he don't want to talk about this. So back to the movie. Give me your opinion. How do you rate this thing?
I haven't seen this thing in probably forever, man.
Yeah, me too. I just remember that I wasn't a fan of it, and I'm
Probably
like,
at
well,
least 20 years.
there's a lot of movies that I didn't like when I was a kid that I love now, and there's some that I like that I hate now. You know, it's back and forth, but no, yeah, I agree. It's been a long time. I think 30 for me. So give it to me, Bubba.
I'm gonna give it a 4. Just for the holds up really
Historical.
well, like you said. Uh the score, great score for sure.
It is a good score.
Really, really spooky. I like a good them old time movies, man. You gotta love them scores on them for sure.
Well, my official grade is no rating.
No rating.
I'm not gonna give it an
You went
anything.
from a 3,
Yeah.
a 3
I'm
to a
just
no
gonna say
rating.
it's just it's not gonna get a rating. It's an NC-17 rating for me, and not because of the movie. Just I can't really grade this movie. Um, I can't give it a rating based on all the facts involved, and that's not knocking the movie, and it's not praising the movie. It's just an incomplete. How is that incomplete? That's my rating. That way, I'm not trashing it, and I'm not giving it glory where it doesn't get it. I bet people hate that. Oh, well. Give me the original Frankenstein movie 1,000 times over. And I'm sorry. The Hammer first Frankenstein is better than all of them. Except for the makeup. If they'd have gave Christopher Lee a fucking flathead Frankenstein, it would have been the greatest movie ever made, but they could not because Universal wouldn't let them. Until we got to the movie where they had the paper mache flathead that you was trashing on when we reviewed it.
Yeah, we did that episode.
I know the makeup was bad, but it was a good movie. And they got the flathead.
All right. Well, do you got anything else for the Bride
No,
of
this has been a
Frankenstein?
crap episode, I'm afraid.
Crap episode.
Yeah. I think it's because I had all the technical issues and you're drunk.
I'm not drunk.
You didn't even know who did the makeup for the original Frankenstein movie.
We ain't done the original Frankenstein.
Well, you should know
See,
that.
we're going off key here again.
You're going off key. If I would have picked a Universal classic, I would have picked the first Frankenstein or the Wolfman.
Well, I
Well, you-
asked you and you said okay.
Because I haven't seen it in 30 years. I was kind of curious what I thought of it. Like I said, there's a
Yeah.
lot of movies as a kid I love that I hate now, and as a kid I hated and I love now. This one, my opinion must not have changed. I'm just going to shut up now.
All right, everybody. I guess that's it for the Bride of Frankenstein.
Send hate mail to Brett, not me.
Carl's holding his face. All right, everybody, check us out on the social medias.
I sure hope next week's episode is better. This has just really not been
Yeah,
5-star.
it'll
I'm not even going to listen to this one this week.
Oh, you will too.
No, I won't. And we've been doing a pretty damn good job, even though sometimes I say we don't. No. Check us on social media. Go to YouTube and subscribe.
If you want to see me cut my hair off and possibly win a T-shirt.
Possibly.
Well,
I thought it was a definite.
gotta get 20
Well,
subscriptions.
what if they subscribe and don't send you your damn email because they don't give a shit? It still
Well,
counts as a subscription.
I can see who subscribes, so
Okay.
I
good.
can get a hold of them that way, I guess. So
I don't know.
we'll see. Oh, I wanted to show everybody
that
some of
done?
our prizes we're giving away at the Texas
You should have
Haunters
done that in the beginning
Convention.
of the show, I'm afraid. Because ain't nobody left watching now. I think it's upside down.
Frame movie posters.
It's upside down.
Is it?
That's better.
Got that.
This is at the Texas Haunters Convention.
Got
You have to
that.
be there in person. You can't win these on the show. You got to come to Texas, to Mesquite.
Yep, we're going to be doing a bunch of drawings.
And what date is that? I'm going to test your knowledge.
July 15th and 16th, Mesquite, Texas.
Table 3.
What else do we got here? Let's see. A couple of Texas Chainsaw Massacres.
Hell, I want that one for myself.
That's the original movie poster.
I know. I love that poster.
And
I'm sure there's nobody left watching, but I'm contemplating buying a Leatherface for the haunted house this year, but I don't know if we're going to do it or not. I can't even tell what that is. It's too bright.
Pennywise.
Oh, I couldn't. There was a lot of reflection.
Welcome to Dairy.
Well, I need that for my damn It Clown
And
collection.
we got
That's the original.
It.
People really don't want me to get into the original It versus the.
All right.
Because
Stop it.
Tim Curry's great, but yeah, it wasn't scary.
All right, everybody.
Nobody's left watching. I'm leaving.
Stay evil, everybody.